Shalom, everyone. I know it's been a while since I've done a video and I want to get back on track. So, I want to talk about abundance. Abundance from Almighty Yah. And one of the ways that Yah can bless you is with wealth, money, financial benefits, and a big fat paycheck. And that is a good way to be blessed. But if all you have is money, then you're not truly blessed. Because Yah can give you different things as well, such as wisdom or confidence or favor or courage. And these are different things that you will want to have, that if you don't have them, you might want to ask yourself why and start to change some things. So I want to encourage you to do that. But first of all, I do want to talk about wealth. I want to talk about some of the different righteous men of the scriptures that were blessed financially, and then I'll delve into some of the other things. Solomon had wealth, Job had wealth, and Abraham had wealth. In Job chapter 1, verse 3, it says, his substance was 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 female donkeys, and a very great household. So that this man was the greatest of all the men of the East. And also Solomon had wealth. In 2 Chronicles chapter 9, verse 13, it says, now the weight of gold that came to Solomon in 1 year was 606 talents of gold. That's about 25 tons of gold per year. You multiply that times 39 years that Solomon was on the throne, and that's about the equivalent of today's money, about $2.2 trillion. Wow. That's a lot of money. Abraham had lots of wealth. Abraham was, in Genesis chapter 13, verse 2, it says, and Abram was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold. So, money, having lots of money is one way that Yah can bless you. But there's also such things as wisdom or discernment, for example. Joseph and Daniel could interpret dreams. Solomon had wisdom. And also Daniel had enough wisdom to choose vegetables and water for his soldiers to eat. And I'll talk about that in just shortly. But first I want to make the point that wisdom or discernment is valuable. In Job chapter 28, verse 18, it says, no mention shall be made of coral or of pearls, for the price of wisdom is above rubies. In Proverbs chapter 3, verse 13 and 15, it says, happy is the man that finds wisdom and the man that gets understanding. Verse 15, that's wisdom, she is more precious than rubies, and all the things that you can desire are not to be compared to her. And in Proverbs chapter 8, verse 11, it says, for wisdom is better than rubies, and all the things that may be desired are not to be compared to it. So wisdom, discernment, they're very, very valuable to have. So Joseph had wisdom. He could interpret dreams for Pharaoh. In Genesis chapter 41, I'm paraphrasing here, it says, Pharaoh had dreams about 7 fat cows and 7 thin cows. And he also saw 7 good ears of corn and 7 thin ears. The thin ears ate the good ears. And Pharaoh wanted to know what this dream meant. And Joseph explained to him, he said, both dreams are one. Yah is showing you what he's doing. We're going to have 7 years of good fortune and 7 years of famine. And it ultimately happened. So Joseph was given a prominent place, second in command to Pharaoh himself in all of Egypt, all because of wisdom and discernment. But consider this. In Genesis chapter 41, verse 24, it says, Pharaoh asked his magicians what the dreams meant, but they could not interpret the dreams. Only Joseph could. All because of Yah. Joseph was a righteous man. Yah gave him wisdom and discernment. And Yah gave Daniel wisdom. In Daniel chapter 1, verse 8, it says, Daniel decided to not eat the king's meat or drink his wine. Let us eat vegetables and drink water for 10 days. And drop down to verse 15, it says, after 10 days, they looked fairer and fatter in flesh than the others who ate meat and drank the wine. All because of wisdom. And then drop down to verse 17, still in chapter 1, in Daniel, it says, as for Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, Yah gave them knowledge and skill in all learning and wisdom. And Daniel had understanding in all visions and dreams. Daniel could explain to somebody, without knowing what the dream was, Daniel could explain to somebody not only what the dream was, but what it meant. And in Daniel, still in chapter 1, verse 20, and it says, in all matters of wisdom and understanding that the king inquired of them, he found them 10 times better than all the magicians and astrologers that were in his realm. Daniel was righteous. Yah gave him wisdom. And also Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. All because of Yah. Solomon had wisdom. In 1 Kings chapter 4, verse 29 and 30, it says here, and Yah gave Solomon wisdom and understanding exceeding much, and the largeness of heart, even as the sand on the seashore. Verse 30, and Solomon's wisdom excelled the wisdom of all the children of the east country, possibly Asia, and all the wisdom of Egypt. Egypt had a lot of wisdom, a lot of knowledge, but Solomon had more. So, also when you're living right, when you're a righteous man or woman, you will have courage. You will have a boldness of heart that people just, they see and they can't explain to you. They say, what's different about you? It's Yah. You're living right. And for example, David fought a lion, a bear, and Goliath. In 1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 34 and 35, it says, and David said to Saul, your servant kept his father's sheep, and a lion and a bear came and took a lamb out of the flock. I went after him and smote him, got the lamb from his mouth, and when he arose against me, I caught him by the beard and smote him. Now that's courage. Also, Joshua had courage. Joshua chapter 1, verse 8 and 9, it said, this book of instructions shall not depart out of your mouth, but you shall meditate on it day and night, that you may observe to do all that is written in it. For then you will have good success, and make your way prosperous. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and very courageous. Do not be afraid, for Yah is with you wherever you go. Yah gave Joshua courage because Joshua obeyed his laws and statutes and commandments. Also, when you're living right, Yah will give you confidence or hope. Look at Proverbs chapter 3, verse 26. For Yah shall be your confidence or hope, and shall keep your foot from being caught. And lastly, I want to talk about favor. You remember Daniel, back in chapter 1, talks about Yah gave Daniel favor with the prince of the eunuchs. That's Daniel chapter 1, verse 9. Now, why do I say all this? Because you might have wealth, but if you don't have favor with your employers, with your family, if you don't have favor, if you don't have confidence, if you don't have courage, if you don't have wisdom or discernment, maybe it's time to ask yourself why and what you can do to change. Shalom.